Hey guys, what's going on? This is Medic. I'm from Crucible Wrath. Right now I'm going to be making a short video about a retro royale deck that I made. I went 6-0 in retro challenge with this deck, and I was so impressed with how well it did that I decided to take this deck to the ladder. And I also went 6-0 in ladder with this deck and climbed from 5.3k trophies to 5.5k trophies. I'm just going to do a quick overlay of all the cards that are in the deck, what exactly the role is. Giant is obviously just a generic tank, used offensively and defensively. Defensively, you can put him in front of Barbs or Minion Horde when you're defending with either of those cards to stop them from getting destroyed by things like Baby Dragon or Wizard or splash damage cards. Minion Horde and Barbs can be great offensive and defensive options as well. If they used arrows, Minion Horde is always good to attack with. If they use Fireball, Barbs can always be used to attack with, especially when combined with Goblins or even Balloon, if Giant happens to not be in your hand. They're also very strong defensive cards because of their high DPS that they output. Goblins is more so used for taking out things like Princess at the Bridge for a cheap cost, and also for killing Hog coming down the lane in a fast and cheap way. The Goblins I chose over Skarmy because Skarmy can be zapped, and what you will usually be using the Goblins for is taking out Hog, and if they can zap your Skarmy that you use over Goblins, they'll get a significant amount of damage, so I choose to use Goblins instead of Skeletons or Skeleton Army. Musketeers, just because of her superior range to all ranged units. You definitely need some sort of ranged attacker and a little bit more anti-air. Overall good card, very safe to play in the back, very strong. Fireball arrows, just extremely standard, can handle just about any situation possible. And then there's also Balloon, because it does a significantly large amount of damage, it's tanky and fairly easy to get to tower. So let's start looking at these games. Here's actually one of the games I played versus a Golem Rage Balloon deck, but that game is too far back for me to be able to look at. So as you can see, I'm at 5,344 trophies now. I'll watch this first game. Kind of a weird starting hand. I kind of want to see what he plays first, because none of these options in my hand are very appealing to start with. Once I see him play Elixir Collector, my two options are to either attack or fireball it. Trying to take advantage of his less elixir, I decide to go for an attack. Didn't get significant damage, but it forced him to react somehow, and I am ahead in elixir for now. Musketeer, like I said, always just kind of a safe thing to play in the back. Realize got to make some sort of attack happen, and after seeing him use log, realize Goblins behind my Giant would probably be an extremely strong support for this push. Does pretty significant damage. Zap can't really do anything for him right here. Mini Pekka gets taken out, and we're pretty far ahead at this point. He still has Elixir Collectors, and so once he places another one, I again go for the aggressive push to take advantage of his lower elixir. Get a fireball ready in case he places something else down, but he didn't. But I still didn't feel comfortable with him having two elixir collectors, so I fireballed it. So at this point, with a minute and a half left, he's still got a chance to come back, and I'm mostly focused on defense, so that'll primarily be what I'm trying to do. Barbs, awesome for taking out Giant. He doesn't have Fireball, so they're significantly harder for him to deal with. Plays Elixir Collector, so I put a Giant in front of my Musketeer to make use of the surviving troops. You can see how Goblins not being able to get zapped proves to be significant this game. minion horde and barbs with their extremely high DPS, making very short work of giant. Not even able to get a giant close to my tower. Pretty scary push coming in at the moment, but barbarians and goblins has a significant amount of hits for a mini P.E.K.K.A to get through, giving me enough time to get a minion horde out. At this point, I don't really see myself stopping the attack easily, so I just kind of go for the offensive, but there's not enough time left in the match for it to matter. And that was the first game. To save time, I'm going to play the next games in 2 times the speed. I just wanted to play the first one at 1 times the speed just so that you guys could kind of see what I was doing. So this one's actually against Royal Giant Elite Barbs. Very common for people in the lower arenas to face. Starting off with Giant because it's a safe way to play. Had to Fireball because my arrows weren't in cycle. And then this is where it comes in handy that my goblins can't be zapped. Even if he did have zap right there, he wouldn't have been able to do anything about that. Barbs being a great counter to elite barbs. Got some balloon hits in. That furnace will be kind of hard to get through, but overall not too worried about it. I'm ahead in elixir right now, and he is going to have a hard time getting through my deck. I had to wait for those fire spirits to jump into my giant before I could play minion horde. Decided to take a couple shots so that I could have a stronger offensive push, and it paid off because I got the tower. Balloon didn't exactly make it a tower, but I did still manage to make kind of a push. I decided to put those barbs in front of the musketeer because I predicted that he would put elite barbs down on top of my musketeer, and I figured if I put barbs in front, he would have a hard time doing that. Barbarians taking out all of that very quickly. Tried placing a giant to make use of the leftover barbarians. Still got kind of a ways to go, but I know they're spending a lot of elixir on these elite barbs and the royal giants, and so my main concern is just trying to get damage in. And here, fireball comes in handy very much. Able to take out his royal giant extremely quickly, and then go in for the last bit of damage. These games that follow are all just friendly battles I've faced, and so we're going to skip over them and look back at the ladder matches. As you can see, the other matches didn't have any bearing on my ladder rank, and they were just friendlies. So, next deck we're going to face Golem, another extremely popular deck. Golem is a little bit harder because Baby Dragon, with its buff to its range, is extremely hard to get through, especially when your defensive troops are Barbarians and Minion Horde, which Baby Dragon is significantly strong against. So again, when someone plays an Elixir Collector, your 2 options are to either Fireball the Elixir Collector, or to go for a offensive push of some sort to punish the lack of Elixir he has. So, taking no tower damage and significantly damaging his, extremely good for me. So now I got this golem to deal with. Luckily Barbarians can take care of it fairly quickly. After just using his Mega Minion and Baby Dragon, all he had left was minions to use, but I can arrow those, and his golem goes down right at the tower, leaving me to not take too much damage. A little too optimistic with that minion horde placement. Probably could have placed those a little bit later and have gotten a full minion horde out. Lacking the elixir to make a proper push, I fireballed his elixir collector instead of for a giant loon push because I like the elixir for it, and fireball was the best I was going to be able to do. I kind of realized at this point that if I can stop his golem, then I will have a good chance at winning this game. This is where giant defensive giant comes in handy. I know it's 2 cards that he's going to be dropping down. It's going to be baby dragon and mega minion, which can deal significant damage to my troops. And so before his troops can break down my barbarians and goblins, I'm going to try and take out his golem as fast as possible by using a combination of goblins and barbs. I'm trying to go for a push right now to try and force him to play troops in front of his golem in hopes that by the time my troops get taken out, his troops will go ahead of golem. And when they go ahead of his golem, they will probably die to the tower and won't be a threat later on in the push. So I had to go for the fireball right there. Barely made it. So in the last ditch effort, tries to play Mega Minion. I just start dragging it over with the giant. I didn't want to just place the giant in front because of him being able to possibly use lightning like that. Go for the giant loon, fireball in hopes I can get a second hit off. Doesn't quite happen, gets really close. But I'm at a significant lead. Body block for the musketeer, and as long as I can get this giant to the tower, we'll be good to go. He plays skeletons and minions. Use those arrows. And we beat him. Next game's going to be kind of a quick one. This deck obviously is going to have a lot of strengths versus mortar, so that's why it's a little bit quicker. We're going to ×2 this one. So he starts off with mortar in his hand. Rocket can kind of be an issue because it's a pretty good counter to a balloon when it's only level 7 like mine is. After he uses rocket, I realize he doesn't have a lot of elixir, and rocket's one of the counters people would count as something to use against a balloon, and so makes for perfect timing to use the balloon on his tower. Places the mortar down. Figure he doesn't have enough elixir for arrows, and I was correct. Minion horde manages to take out the mortar. So this is where barbarians, if people do not have, most people think barbarians are either only defensive or that they just can't be used offensively. But if someone lacks some sort of area of effect type of damage, barbarians can be extremely powerful offensively. You just need to recognize when someone has that weakness in their deck and take advantage of it. With only about a minute left to go, and him still needing at least 3 rockets if he wants to take out my tower, I kind of realized if I just keep attacking him with tanky troops, I'll start to win, and he realizes it too and gives me the win. So we'll go over one more game. This game is against a 5.6k player, and he's also using Golem Balloon, which is a very powerful combo, and then Freeze at the top of the ladder at maximum level like his is extremely powerful, much more powerful than at tourney standard. So again, because Baby Dragon gives our strategy a lot of trouble, Giant is our best bet for offense and defense. What I should have done right there is placed a Giant first and then use Minion Horde to defend, but realizing my error and realizing he spent a lot of elixir on that push, I put a balloon on the other side, taking advantage of his lack of anti-air and large amounts of elixir spent. I don't know if that fireball was necessary, but I did it anyway. At the moment, all I really need to do is defend. He's definitely got the elixir lead right now with 8 elixir on the board and still having 1 more elixir than I have. So I actually played that balloon right there in place of where I would have liked to have used a giant. I wanted to keep his baby dragon from getting my tower, and to facilitate that I used a balloon instead of a giant. So I tried taking advantage of the leftover minion horde. Got insignificant damage, so it paid off. So I realized he's going to use freeze right here, so I have my minion horde ready to try and take it out. And with only 600 damage left, and giant balloon and fireball in my hand, it's pretty easy to get that kind of damage in. And there's not enough time for him to try and close out the game, even with the balloon freeze. So this is my giant loon deck. I ended up finishing off at 5,496 trophies. I actually do plan to keep using this deck to climb even higher, but I've had such success with it, as in I've gone 6-0 in the Retro Challenge and then went 6-0 in matchmaking. So far I'm 12-0 with the deck so far. It's extremely strong, pretty easy to level up, taking advantage of half it being commons and then 3 rares and 1 epic. So it's pretty easy for anyone with a vast amount of card levels to take advantage of. Definitely a deck I'd suggest to someone to try and use, especially if you do like Balloon, but you maybe lack Lava Hound because you don't have that legendary yet. And also these cards are good cards to upgrade for later down the line. It's not something that you should have to go out of your way to upgrade for a lot of these cards. Musketeer and Giant especially. So that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I also hope you have success with this deck like I did. I do now stream. I stream at USA Medic 68/Twitch TV. So if you'd like to watch me stream, I usually stream at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to try and see me climb the top of the ladder, there is 3 more days till season reset, and I will be trying to finish in the top 200 for the end of the season. So feel free to stop by the stream and watch me climb at the end of the season reset. Alright, have a good one, guys.